John Tui, welcome, brother.
Hey, man.
How's a fellow Unitec alumni going?
Well, you tell them, Daz. Where do we meet? How do we meet, man? How do we know each other?
We know each other almost 2 decades ago, about like 19 years ago, I think. We were both at Unitec studying. You were doing acting. I was doing behind the scenes, film and TV.
Yep.
And we worked together on a few things at Unitec, I think, little projects, little whatnots. And then at the end of it, we all went our different ways, Brian. And
Building blocks.
Building blocks, brother.
Building blocks of champions.
And you're giving back now, aren't you? But we'll come back.
I try to, yeah.
We'll come back to that.
You quarterback this. You halfback it, man.
I'm halfbacking this. So you now are part of the Pollywood elite. I love this Pollywood word someone brought up the other day, where it's like, what's going on, bro? So you've got like yourself, you've got Cliff, you've got Tim, then you've got Jason Momoa, then you've got the Mighty Rock, just representing hard.
Did you just put me in that category?
Bro, I put you in that category.
Oh, man.
I put you in that category, man. How could I not?
Appreciate that, man. I don't see myself in that category. I see myself on the B tier. I've been C tier on the C tier with my whole career. You know, you mentioned Cliff. It was awesome working with him.
Yeah.
Got to finally work with, and I know he's always talking about it, but Uncle Bully.
Cool,
Bully.
Yeah.
That movie came out and shook the foundations of our country in terms of how we view our Indigenous. It's a Kiwi classic to me. Once Warriors.
Yeah, bro.
Same way I look at Splash Palace, Utu.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in the '90s, so I was just having a chat with my bro coming over here, Crooked Earth. A lot of those Indigenous stories hit me in the feels because you know I'm the first generation of Tongan immigrants that immigrated here during the '70s. You know.
Mm-hmm. So it must be cool, but it's cool, bro, to see like we've been making these movies at home, you know, Utu and that sort of thing. But now there seems to be this poly face, which is getting represented in the States now, which is pretty cool.
Oh, it's been represented for a while. Let's not forget, you know, where Dwayne Johnson's from.
Yeah.
In terms of his fame and his legacy. And he was from good wrestling stock. You know, he's connected to like Peter Maivia, who was one of the first international Samoan wrestlers.
Yeah, man.
Put Samoa on the map through wrestling. And since Dwayne came out as The Rock, he was just charismatic.
Yeah.
And we already started claiming him then, you know.
Yep.
We already had Polynesians. As a Tongan, King Haku was our stalwart, you know.
Yeah.
That was our guy.
Yep.
And mad respect for him.
So were these people kind of, I mean, these things that you hear about, were these sort of inspiration for you to try and follow in what you're doing now to get into acting? What was the reason for you getting into acting, brother?
I love it. That's what I do. I think it's rare that people discover their passion.
Yeah.
I had grown up around a performing family. My mother taught all my sisters how to do Ta'alunga dance, Tongan dancing. So I would always have to support with as a male supporter, you know, doing a tula fale, which is to support the female when she's dancing.
Yeah.
I grew up liking dance at the same time, and it was an avenue for me to get into performing.
Yeah.
I was part of a Baha'i performing youth group when I was in my teens, and 6 years I learned to travel around the world using my art in terms of performing to spread love and peace. And I did that here, entered dance competitions.
Yeah.
I was always drawn to it, man, from doing plays in primary school to, you know, being the lead in some, I was in the choir as well, so being the leads in my intermediate in one of our school plays. And then getting to high school and always being around. So, you know, I always loved the physical. You know, I played rugby growing up as a kid out in Manurewa. And
You're a JC boy? James Cook?
James Cook, Rewa High.
Sure.
Yeah. Grew up in Manurewa. Raised initially on Onehunga. I was born in Auckland National Women's Hospital.
Yep.
And then, my oldest son was born there.
Yeah.
I was really proud when that happened.
Now, you're a real family man, bro. That's something.
Try to be, bro.
Yep.
Try to be.
That's awesome.
I had a good mentor in my father.
Yeah.
William Mitui.
Yep.
From Sydney.
Yeah.
Representing Dalafo. He was a good man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What he had to face in his journey over here inspired me. I'd seen, being the oldest of 9 kids.
Yeah.
I saw how hard he had to work as an immigrant. He just worked so many different factory jobs. So come home tired, wake up, go.
Yeah.
6 days, 12-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And my holidays, I'll get to go work with him. Storing, packing, lifting crates and stuff.
Yeah.
And it gave me an appreciation for how hard my father did it.
Yeah.
So, when I had my first son, it was like 2004, sort of, when you have your first child, something happens. You go through a change. For me, everything I say I learn.
Yeah.
And it's that transition from that single life or that relationship life to being a parent. And, it's, if you apply 100 to it, it's not an easy job, but it's noble. Yeah. My life changed when he was born. I posted up on Instagram.
Yeah.
This one photo. I'm lying in a pool with a black guy. He's on my back. He's on my back. I was trying to be deep, going. I wasn't feeling guilty because I was working. I can't say the company, but I was shooting.
Yep.
For a very popular series at the time, and it just wasn't responsible of me. Very reckless of me. But sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Can't back away from being disrespected sometimes. So.
Yeah,
but I was just like, man, this is not how I'd seen my father. And and my father, he dealt with a lot of racism when he was younger.
Yeah.
And the way he dealt with it was just cold, And I was just like, man, I hope one day I'll be able to make the point that it's unnecessary and it's ignorant without me having, because ultimately it can turn to violence. So try to do it in a different perspective, from a different perspective.
Yeah. I was going to say, what changes have you seen in the many years? We won't put a number on it, but in the years that you've been around, bro, what changes have you seen in sort of racial appreciation or racial acceptance in our culture? Because I see things changing.
I think it's just more out there now.
Yeah.
I think with social media, people being able to have a voice. Excuse me.
No,
Yeah.
too many nuts.
I think it's here's the thing, and I'll own this opinion being first generation Kiwi, because I do identify myself to be a Kiwi, a New Zealander. We're all immigrants.
Yep.
Whether you're sixth generation and I'm first generation, it doesn't. The fact that you have generations that are here doesn't make you any different from anyone else that was born here.
Yeah.
And this is a new chapter for New Zealand. I think for over 100 years, the bicultural settlements are still being negotiated and consulted on.
Yep.
With the influx of immigrants here,
Yep.
especially with the Polynesian people starting to come over here in droves.
Yeah.
In the 50s onwards and stuff, we can't say there's no racism because we all have an identity issue, right?
We've got a tribe.
My man, when Tonga came out 2017, hit me here because this was my heritage,
Yeah.
And then when they played the Kiwis, I was like cut in half. But I'd seen racism come out then, and let's not even. And listen, people are going to be like, he's still sour about it. I'm like. That last call when Tonga played England was racist. Blunt down the hatchet, right?
Yeah.
And to not even go to the video ref to see whether it was a strip or whether it was a fumble.
Yeah.
If that was Australia and New Zealand or Australia and England, you think the ref would just run off into the sheds? It was racist.
Shit.
And then everybody tried to cover it like, wow, it's, nah, man. Call it what it is. Call it, because our children are watching.
Yeah.
Like. That was, So, but I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was there. So when you ask that question, brother, it's still out there. Taika got a bit of heat for having an opinion about whether New Zealand was racist or not. The fact that people are kicking up saying, no, it's not. No, you can't say that. I'm like, dude, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
Let's get beyond this, man. We got to have open dialogue about this.
Yeah. And this is what's missing, bro. I think the open dialogue side of it, what you're talking about, like sitting down like this, breaking bread. But we rather than with the social media influx and that, we're just yelling at each other, right? You're racist.
No,
racist,
no.
da, 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 da.
It's
And there's
social
just
media is annoying because it can be good if it's used for good. Like all you have to do is surf through it and see what makes you cringe or what doesn't.
Yeah.
I avoided it for like 3 years till I came back on Instagram because I felt I had a platform to come out on.
Yeah.
I can't. I try not to care about it.
Yeah.
You know, because I've seen how ugly it can get.
Yeah.
When somebody feels like that they have an opinion and base it on some experience, they do a job or they're in their basement or they're on their phone having a strong opinion about it. But if I strip down your walk in terms of how they live their life, what validates that for me to listen to your opinion? How can you say something about what I've lived? Like, they won't know what it's like to have 50 doors closed on them.
No.
I'm told you're not pretty enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not. They don't know that. So when I finally get an audition and win that role, and then apply myself artistically to it, that they have similar point, go and do your job. And if you're that staunch about how you feel, take the veil down, take your privacy settings off.
Yeah,
take that protection veil, or did you start another account so you can come out there and be mean? You're just being mean, man. Let me go into your life with the media and take you apart. If you think you have that access to me, because they don't know how hard I work. No, they don't know. They see like we're all millionaires and stuff. Even actors out there, artists that are out there, holding some sort of front. That'll go. It all goes. It always comes down, and it's how to deal with it later. And I know some point you're going to try and address mental issue and stuff and how it affects, and we'll get there, brother. But I'm just saying, like, you know, for me, but I'm proud.
This is exactly right, though. We need to be able to talk about and be open to listening to what people's walks really are.
Yeah, some people listen to that. Some people, and the bullying happens on cyberspace. So, like, for me, the only control I have is whether I choose to look at it or not. So, I'll try and let my walk do the talking, and I'm far from perfect, bro. Far, cuz. I am faulted.
We all are.
Faulted, bro. But what I learned, the formula that worked for me as an actor was not to try to be anything. I'm not going to be that leading man, Brad Pitt, or anything like that. I'm not a spokesperson for all Polynesian rights. I'm not but you know, I do like to try to use my platform to inspire our youth because I've seen the poverty out there. I've seen the struggles. I try and be wise, and I have a group of people around me that I put a lot of faith in and trust in. That's my wife, my parents. And I try to keep positive around me because it can get hard when the fame, you know, whatever.
And that's a great thing, bro. When you're talking about what you're talking about there, it's walking the walk. Right, you've got a lot of people out there who just talk, and you start to suspect. It's like how much of this is trained that you're saying, and how much of this is actually experience, and how much you're actually being genuine about it. But if you live the life, and you display the life that you want other people to live, especially in your culture or our culture, you know what I mean? That's a true example, and that's what it should be like. And people can watch that and admire it and want to be like it.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean. Listen, there are people out there that are just fame mongers that just want to go out there and be famous. You can do that if you're going to do something stupid. Yeah. But it's fleeting. Yeah. You know? Fame's like a drug to some people. Yeah. It hit me when Battleship hit. Like when I got that first contract, I came back. Yeah. And, you know, it was hanging out with a couple of my boys or with family and stuff. And I'm constantly clocking in to see whether I'm still, am I still down to hang? Am I still from my hood or whatever? You know. Right.
You're having an identity. It's not a crisis, but you're having an identity issue. Just trying to work out where do you go from here?
Well,
not only professionally, but also with your identity and who you are. It's like, do you change something? Was that what you were going through?
Well, yeah, dude. I've seen fame hit people. Yeah. Hard. You know, I've worked on a few of the big TV series here. I'm not going to call those series out. Yeah. And they make instant fame from a lot of people. Yeah. And, you know, I've been on sets and I've seen people come on humble in that first week and then the light hits them, bro. Yeah. And then they think they're better than everybody else. Yeah. And karma gets them. God will teach you a lesson. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, and my thing is, like, when I talk to young people, don't chase that. Don't chase fame. Like, what are you in this for? Yeah. Why do you love this art? Like, for me, my passion, my craft set me free. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'll be comfortable working in a side alley theatre, making pennies a week because just for passion. It has to. Yeah. I've tried my best to keep my career, my passion, stay in line with me providing, as a father, because ultimately, when we leave God's earth, it's one wants to look back and see what they've done, and that there's something to, what have you done with your life? If I said that to you, Daz, you'd be like, man, look, you've set this up. You've given me a platform to be able to sit here and reciprocate your extension to me. Yeah. And because we knew each other, you're from Wesley College, there's a South Auckland link here. So I try to find a common interest. So for me, it's legacy. It comes down to legacy. And how do I do it? And I've buried friends at a young age, bro. Yeah, bro. And I hope I've learned from that. Yeah. I hope I've, all the mistakes I make, I try to be accountable for it. Yeah. Trying to dust that on the carpet. Yeah. And it brings me back to being a Tongan, a Polynesian, as my craft allows me to at least have a voice, bro. And I've chosen to try to use it on a, positive platform. In a positive way on my platform. Yeah.
How does it...
Let me know when there's Dr. Phil moments coming and I black out, cuz. Keep it real, man.
So, you mentioned burying friends too young. So, obviously, poor took his life.
Are you going to go in now?
Not yet.
You want to go in now? You're gonna keep planting that seed to see if I bite? That's my dude. I know that I love him. I love him. I miss him.
What I was going to say was when you bring up that, we're buried younger brothers and we're buried younger brothers for certain reasons. How does it make you feel about yourself? How does it humble you when you put somebody in the ground that shouldn't have gone? How do you look at family like that? You know what I'm saying?
Yes and no. Like, how do you look at family? Like, I could you know what I mean? Like, I could hold up. Generally, we'll have an idea. Yeah. Looking at how we've been raised.
Yeah. No, I don't have a family yet.
Not yet, but you're from a family. You're from a family. When you're with your boys, it's like your own little micro family on a different level.
For me, it was like I had something similar happen, but a member of my immediate family tried to take their life a couple of years ago, and that was a shock. It was a shock.
Because they went there.
They went there.
Man.
You know what I mean? It was just a moment, and she just OD'd and wanted to end it. Whether it was a cry for help, I don't know. What it was, who knows? I don't go into those conversations yet with her. But it happened, And then that just brought everything into reality for me. I checked my mental health. I checked the way I look at everything, and I made some drastic changes in my life. So when something like that does happen, bro, how does it bring things into perspective for you?
When I buried friends at a young age, and when I buried my family, my sister died when I was 5 or 6. Yeah, that was my first, because I knew her, And then my grandfather, and I think human beings are humble at 2 major events of their life. Yeah, the understanding of life is hit when you bury or you're at a birth. It taught me young, but from a cultural perspective, Tongans treat the passing of someone very big, Yeah. The memory of them. From a Kiwi perspective, we're very conservative. Yeah. From a lot of the Kiwi funerals and births that I've been to. Yeah. And I've got an eclectic group of friends that I was always open growing up to hanging out with different groups. I just love learning. My social skills came from just being around different groups. I never grew up in just one community kind of thing, Yeah.
Well, that's part of what we do as a living, bro. Like as actors and as
we should. But performers, us in our art now, we're open to, you know what I'm saying? Coming out and we integrate better. Well, I feel we do, and whether it's immediate or whether it's long term, we do it differently from an artistic point of view. Yeah, we push the envelope. Yeah. I don't try to question it. You can go crazy trying to think of that, but I understand. I've Suicide's been South Auckland. We test it, man. We test.
Yeah.
From a young passionate argument to punching yourself. I think once you throw in like different addictions into alcohol, there's drugs out there. So there's I don't know, even like with the prescription stuff that I read a bit.
Opioids.
There's everything.
Yeah.
So you have a concoction of this new society that has a lot of access to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Just access in life, bro.
Yeah.
And if you're not moving towards something that drives you, that's what I mean. Like when I talk about when you bring up acting, for me, it's just, I love performing.
Yeah.
I love it, as I respect it as a craft, and I went and studied. I went to study and get this degree in acting. So it was more of a shield, a trophy, a statue to say that I've gone through your system to learn how it's taught and stuff out there. What I've discovered out there, being a professional and trying to be a professional, is also what I've learned out there is different.
Yeah.
So, but I like the idea of showing up and having people know this guy's trained. I don't think everyone needs to go through the training, because there are some awesome people out there who are just full of life skills and experiences that have enough and are grounded within themselves. I don't want to put anything on source. I can't be a spokesperson for it. Put anything about in terms of my opinion for it.
I think you can't be a
communication, bro.
Yeah,
Talk.
bro.
The hardest thing is getting people to talk with my culture, and it's hard to express.
Yeah.
To be open.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm the reason. Like, you see dudes like me, you cross the street, man, where I'm from, but because of what I do, and I have a confidence and I'm comfortable being able to communicate my thoughts and ideas with you.
Yeah.
I can sit here on this platform, on your platform, and be able to ping pong this dialogue between us about this. And for me, communication is very important. And it's hard, because what if sometimes you're not brought up around that, you don't have the role models, or these structures aren't set for you, and you come up through hardship, brother. Yeah. And if I was to ever say anything, just find the words.
It's like you're talking about before, bro. It's like everybody's story is different.
Yeah.
It's like you can't assume that you know what somebody's thinking. You can't assume that you know what's going on. Like with suicide, it's people who say, you get some dickheads out there who say things like, it's cowardly and that sort of thing. But it's like, you have no idea.
That's the man's approach, though. That's the bloke approach, Yeah. It's dusting it under the carpet, like with everything else. Yeah. Just they. But, like I said, if I go into your lifestyle and your history, then I'll be able to understand you a bit more, respect why you have that speech, why you said what you said. Yeah. I don't have that. Yeah. I don't have that, bro. Yeah. I have you on your phone, hopefully checking out this podcast, adding to the view. All right, yeah, bro. Like the way I curved around that. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that, bro. We'll come back to that. So, acting-wise, you're in a film. A mate of mine, Sam, directed a film recently called Savage.
Sam Kelly. Yeah, bro.
Yeah. I saw a first cut of that about 3 months ago, and it's very good, bro.
That was rough. That was pretty rough.
It was rough. It was a rough cut. There's a lot to work on, but you're good, bro. I was like, man, you're brutal. I can almost gave away the ending. I won't. But what's it like coming?
Well, I don't know. You saw the movie?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Sam, if you're watching this, it's funny how he gets to see the movie, and one of the stars of the movie hasn't seen it, and then we're sitting here talking about like racism and white privilege. Hey,
speaking of white privilege, Sam, come on my podcast, bro. You said no to me the other day, and I'm not.
Speaking of white privilege, Sam, get ready, because they're gonna come out for you, bro.
I was gonna say, what's it like? What's the different mentality and thought process working on a Kiwi indie like that? And then getting opportunities like a Hobson Shaw. What's the different frame of mind that you have to be in? Is one easier than the other, or
mate?
How is it?
Every time I step into the box,
I
treat every role with integrity. I apply myself, bro. Best foot forward. I empty the cup, empty the tank.
Yeah, bro.
Because I don't know whether it's going to be a hit or whether it's not. I can't have any doubt. There's no room for doubt. There's no.
Yeah.
There might be a bit of Yeah, of course, everything gets criticized, man.
Yeah, bro.
I'll break it down to you just clear as crystal. I'm an actor first and foremost.
Yeah.
When I auditioned for this role, I didn't ask whether I was going to get it or not. In my mind, I'm like, I'll try and lay this audition down, walk away.
Yeah.
Actors need to know to stop talking about auditions. It's like talking about something you prepared for and not knowing the outcome, but knowing that you weren't ever going to get the role. Like, it's premature, man.
Yeah.
Maybe talk about a callback with your friends, but the process. We audition.
Yeah.
The hope that's in there. You talk about the psychological effects of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why when I say people, they haven't walked in my shoes. They have no idea. Yeah. Go back to their lives. Yeah. Stop criticizing. I can come into your life and look at your job. What are you going to tell me about it? I treat everything the same, whether it's a $200 commercial, whether I'm having a guest appearance on the student film, whether I'm shooting for the Oscars. Everything's the same.
What about the fun side of it? It's still always enjoyable
always,
for you? Because you're doing what you love, bro.
Yes, that's what I mean. Your passion sets you free. I don't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
I'm exactly where I should be.
Yeah.
I just need that chicken to match. You know what I mean? I because I'm the tip of the spear. I have a lot of people counting on me.
True.
And especially my children.
Yeah. How old are your kids, bro?
15, 12, and 2 10-year-old boys, twins.
How old are the oldest? Sorry, what?
Oldest is a boy, he's 15.
Boy,
my second's 12, girl, and twin boys, 10-year-olds.
How does it make them feel to see you on the screen, bro? It's like the most recent.
When people are like, hey, you famous? I'm like, man, no, my household.
You get humbled pretty quickly in a poly household, eh, bro?
Oh, bro, it's we joke and we're harsh, bro. We're going.
I went to Wesley College, bro. My mum's Samoan. I know what it's like, bro.
Brother, I remember seeing you at drama school too, bro. At drama uni. And you told me you're Wesley. That's it. When I talk to students or when I talk to people, I always ask I get a quick sweep of their background so I can have an idea of. Not try to box them because we profile naturally anywhere in society. Yeah. But when you said you're Wesley, I'm like, my man knows what's up, though. All good,
bro. Where was I going to go with that?
Yeah,
what have the kids said about you? Like,
to them, I'm dad, man. Yeah. They keep me humble.
Yeah.
I try to be a good role model and father.
Yeah.
But I'm the first doing what I'm doing from a Tongan perspective. I don't want to make that as a claim, but and we know how Tongans support. And so the one thing I said in another interview was I like to see Polynesians supporting their artists as well as their athletes.
Yes,
we go crazy on that because there's that warrior lineage that's connected to the sport, the brute, the brawn of a man. Like we breed them big, man. We're some of the biggest people on the planet.
Yep.
And that with a combination of eating right and training, we can get these athletes. Great athletes.
I loved it when Tonga was going back to the Rugby League World Cup a couple of years ago.
I know when I brought that up, bro. I said to my wife, I was still sour about that because I was sitting there, and this goes to show how the humility of my culture was. They sung hymns through that decision, and dude, if this was like a soccer game, bro, the stadium would be trashed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and
big time.
And the momentum leading up to that, it was massive. They changed the way a lot of our prime athletes out there look at supporting teams. Because I love rugby league. Yeah. I love it that they give the players that choice and that stand down of a year or two in terms of changing. But how are we going to nurture our Pacific Island communities in terms of look at Tonga now, man. It broke my heart to see them go down to the All Blacks like that because I know and I've seen like the momentum coming from the 99 World Cup, 2003.
Oh yeah, no. I gotta be honest. I wasn't watching the game, but I was reading the updates live, and it was just like try.
Bro, and I wasn't 100 with the All Black selection either. Yeah, tell Steve I said that. Yeah, and what? Nah. But Yeah, man. Like I hope we win it again this year. It'll be when I look at the Europeans, they are up. They got their tails are up. They're ready to go. They're going to be challenging for us. And South Africa, Australia, always keen, man. They proved it, man. The way Australia dismantled us in that first Bledisloe. Yeah. I was sitting here like, don't we get those fears? Listen.
But I think the way they dismantled us in that first game, I think we needed that. Yeah. I think there needs to be
7 days to come back and absolutely turn it around. So maybe we need that element of desperation to demand the best, because we've already got the pickings already there. It's a mental game, man.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened, though. They replaced the wingers. They replaced a lot of players to make them realize that you're not safe. You know what I mean? You've still got to earn this position, and that's what needed to happen. And it happened, and the next thing you know, and those guys that came through, they were like, this is my chance.
This is my moment. Yeah. That's exactly the way they stepped to it, bro.
And every one of them played beautifully.
Yeah. Oh, they because, well, you know, if we're going to bring up the All Blacks, the greatest team ever in the history of sports, right? Yeah. Google it. I'm not going to sit here and be promoting it. They don't pay me nothing. But it's perfection, the way they run the system, but it's all mental. 24 years I supported them, all those World Cups. Yeah. And we went down, bro. And that depression has sweeps through the country.
Bro, so bad.
Like, no game kind of defines a country more than what All Black Rugby does to New Zealand. Yeah. Especially and you went to school, at your school, with one of the most devastating attacking players in the history of rugby, period. Yeah,
Jonah was a freak.
Bro,
he was an absolute...
Take World Cup aside, it was all about peaking at that time and this and that. Yeah. When he played in that game, I wanted the rest of the team to step up. I didn't like the way that he was singled out and made him accountable for no. He did his best. He was a 20-year-old. Yeah. The others needed to step up. And then you had like the whole food poisoning, tobacco.
It happened.
If I make a complaint, it's going to seem sour. But hey, I've been complaining all day.
Yeah. But no, like, have you seen that movie they made about the TV3 one, the two-part? I still haven't brought myself to watching it yet. I'm still on the fence.
It's art.
Watch it.
It's art. Yeah. And when are we gonna?
Yeah.
No one stepped up to do anything. If I had the connections and that, of course, I'll touch on the legend, but I can't. And I'm not going to make a comment on that. I'm too close to it. Yeah. I got butterflies and I got a chicken skin as soon as the movie came out in New Zealand. You know? And Jonah's the greatest. Yeah. I that's it. I'll leave it at that.
It was interesting though. Like when Jonah passed, I was on a job, and everybody on that job, it was just for Sky TV. Everyone on that job knew him in some way. We had a connection. I went to school with him. Other people work with them. People like Monty Beetham, and a few, and everyone on that crew, even the camera operators, they all knew Jonah in some way. And it just was weird that we were all there on this one particular job, and the news came through, and Monty brought it up, and we stopped. Work was over. And it was
I mean, you know, listen, man, we should not just celebrate our legends when they pass. It should be, let's do it while they're alive.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed.
And I've seen too many, all the hoorah and the dancing after.
Yeah. But Jonah was one of those people who just, all you got to do is just watch his replays and you can celebrate that, you know?
I know.
You watch their stuff and it's just like, holy shit. I watched...
but those are the facts. You can see it. The visuals are there to see how devastating he was. Yeah. And, that's why when I look at our athletes now and stuff, he set the platform up and the bar was high. I don't think we'll see another Jonah for a while. Because the combination of his natural genetics... the conditioning training there just unleashed the beast. And we only got to see an 80% Jonah. We hadn't seen 100%.
That's right.
You know, so.
And his mentality, his training ethos was insane. Like, he was always the... people.
Bro, from a Tongan perspective, that's our dude, man. I have this blind loyalty to it that I can't. He's the bar, you know. I play... Some of my best friends have played with him. Yeah. Taking cheap shots at him. No. and all have the same regard for Jonah. We all know.
Yeah.
So, that thing that we don't talk about, no, he was the one. That photo with the silver fern and the one breaking off, they got me in the feels, man.
Yeah,
but he's our guy. He is our Tongan athlete, our Tongan warrior that had this sport. And everyone that's been measured up next to him is not delivered. You can't.
No.
Don't put that on your children.
No. I remember when, at Wesley, because Jonah left in 93, 94. Jonah left 93, 94. And it was like, who's next? Who's the next Jonah?
And we're waiting. I know, the pressure of the first of things.
Yeah. And there was a couple of good players, but it was like, don't think you're that.
Man, when I go overseas and there's all, when I leave New Zealand and I go overseas, and especially when I'm with my American brothers and football comes up with rugby and all that, and I always show them like clips of Sonny Bill putting their shoulder in there and just and I say, it's the last open battlefield where you're allowed to, but you can't use weapons. You take your whole family genetic and lineage, put it into crash and bash and see whether your bone structure is there. Then your cardio. So I look at the All Blacks and go, man, when you look at how we look at race and we look at like the culture and the ethos of the All Blacks, and it just, to me, it's just, being humble and gracious in wins and defeats. It really sets us at a different level, and I love that about us. It defines us, bro. Defines us.
You've been in the States quite a bit. Do you follow any American sports? Have you latched on to anything there?
Basketball, football.
Yep.
Yeah, I watch the main general flow of sports over there, but I'm pretty much usually in my craft, so I watch a lot of what's going on out there and stuff. Just hopefully I might be able to work in that platform. It's my field. I think when you do something, you got to, and you're in it 100, you got to go fully in it. You can't dabble. A lot of people, they come into acting, they give it like a certain time limit, and then they get their hearts broken.
Yeah.
They moonwalk out of there. It's not for the faint of heart. No. For all the confident people that are out there on Instagram or Facebook or people, they like, this is an art form because I could give them a script. Yeah. Given circumstances and objective. Yeah. Play against, status play and all that, and they'll just turn to water. So I know where I'm athletic in. Yeah. I got a 6-pack and massive chest in this one. I love this. I look at it as an art. The thing with the other actors and stuff out there is they have put fame with the craft, so they're already setting themselves up for for a downfall. Yeah. You're going to hurt your security if you're just if you've got this.
I think a lot of people now with the Instagram world, right?
It's an outlet for them, and I love watching a lot of the stuff out there. Honestly, but then some of them are like, ew.
Some of them though, like they're relying on that to become famous, because they're their own critic. They're the only critic. Yeah, you know what I mean. They put stuff up, and it doesn't matter. They just keep putting stuff up.
No, and they it's not about camera angles. The lens is not important. The shot, how they put themselves out there, it's not scripted. They've thought about it and they put it out. That's cool. Like I love watching, because it's like I said about social media. It's a good avenue for people to start communicating. But if it turns to like, if some people have a bad day or they just want to go and crap on people, like it's nasty, man. Like it can get really bitter. And I'm sitting there like, man, what validates that though? It's the curtain. It's the curtain. I've chosen a life where, listen, judge me for my walk in my craft. That's fine. I can deal with that. But once you come into like my personal life and you start coming, I've got to be able to give it back.
Yeah.
But I can't. So you're safe. So you can be as tough as you want.
Yeah. Yeah. You can hide behind your keyboard.
So, but the same, the same platform you watch dirty things on and whatever. You have a very wise opinion on that. Like you get to peer into people's lives, but then we have control of what we put out there. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. What I was going to say before was it's kind of, you get the people on Instagram putting their stuff up in their own critic, but they don't experience the hundreds of no's that you have experienced going through this.
And it's harsh. And I've seen I'm in a beautiful industry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about them. And they got that. And just what... And I'm sitting here like, wow. So what if my daughter asks me if she's beautiful, but she's comparing it to what's out there? So I keep trying to instill in her that it's... You're here. Everything is here for you. You're perfect.
I think one of the biggest things, I heard something from a psychologist online. Who was it? Might have been Dr. Phil, actually. I don't know. But he said something very, very poignant, and that was, you cannot compare yourself to people on social media or things like that.
This is Dr. Phil?
I think it was Phil. And he said, you can't compare yourself to people on social media because you're comparing the worst part of yourself to the most edited and perfect part of somebody else's life.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. Yeah. You've
But
got to just like walk your own walk. And
it's good to know that, though. It's
Yes.
like for you to know that, so you're secure that they don't validate how you look at yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like I've disappointed all of the people I love, and I still am at some point. But you know, it's the wanting to just keep trying, brother.
Yeah.
To be there, because no one's perfect. No, nah, man. I agree with Dr. Phil, but you know, I remember seeing him when he came out on the Oprah show, and that's when I knew he blew up. And he's got a lot. I just don't plug into the tube in terms of TV.
Yeah.
I like watching YouTube and stuff, and even the Instagram. Like lately, since I've been jumping into this young woman's world as well, I watch what's out there and make my own opinion. I get to choose my input, so I don't let TV choose it or Sky TV. However, I do love watching League on Sky.
Yep.
I choose my input, so whatever I watch on YouTube, I want to learn from it and stuff.
Yep.
You know, and knowing my young family and my children, like I always try to watch, see what they're watching and stuff.
Yeah.
It cracks me up.
Yeah. You've worked with some interesting characters, bro. Who has been one of the most? Who have been one of the most influential people that you work with? Like the one that you just watched and just absorbed the most. Who would be one of those people?
Well, I mean, the decision to come and audition to the schools to get in to get the training, I wasn't watching a lot of TV. I was very self-absorbed at the time, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life.
Yeah.
And then I met a good woman. Got married and had children, and then I went in 100 because this was something that I felt I was good at. In terms of actors out there, I've always been a huge fan of Robert De Niro, Jack Nicholson, Al Pacino, Anthony Hopkins, Daniel Day-Lewis, Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
So I've always set my bar high. There were performances that I'd grown up watching on VHS tape or beta.
Yeah.
Sunday Horrors, even when I finally got to stay up. There wasn't one actor. It was a group of actors that I loved, but mainly movies, man. Like growing up on TV, I remember TV being black and white.
Yep.
You know, and then
Bro, you're not that old.
I'm 44, bro.
Okay, maybe you are.
Yeah, I'm old and I'm proud of it because I've lived my life. I think if you have a midlife crisis, you just realized, my man, just chasing that pay train, pay the bills, and I'm still that guy, bro. Like I'm not, you know. Anyway, in movies, I remember seeing Never-Ending Story when I was a kid.
Yep.
Went to cinemas. During those days, you went to the movies. There was one cinema.
Yeah.
Sitting in, they had a intermission. That's my time. I remember seeing a lot of movies, and then they had like movie marathons where you can go in and watch 3 movies in one night.
Yeah.
I came up in an era during the 80s where, movies were just an epic thing to do. Now you can watch it on your phone.
Yeah.
So the whole nostalgia.
Some of the magic's been sort of stripped out,
man. I remember sitting there going, watching Krull in the movies, Never-Ending Story. I didn't watch Godfather until 2000, and changed my whole perspective.
Yeah. I was older when I saw that too, and I'm glad I was an adult when I saw that film.
Bro, I saw Alien as a kid.
Yeah.
I stayed up, man, Sunday Horror, pretended to sleep and watched that movie. Yeah. And I never ate chop suey. You know how Tonga's like chop suey? Right, because when that Alien, the last thing he was eating, Stanton was eating not Stanton, who was the actor that played?
Ian Hurt? Not
Ian Hurt.
John Hurt.
John Hurt. Yeah, he was eating like some dark noodle-like thing, and it just put me off chop suey for ages. Because I thought like I'll ingest it and then something will come out. And that's what movies can do.
That's what movies can do.
I watched Alien. It took me to like fear. It taught me fear. And then Aliens was probably the number one action movie of my time. Then Predator came, but like, man, just this young poly kid in the theater, you know, and it's what I wanted to do.
Yep. Yeah.
Fame wasn't a thing then because they worshipped fame hard in America during that time. Over here, it was like, you know, he there follow from the news. And, you know, he from Shortland Street. You from Shortland Street, bro? I'm like, nah. No, Jed Brown's still climbing the mountain, baby.
Yeah, we are funny over here with our celebrities. And I think it's a good thing because it's sort of a humility thing, keeping everyone on the right sort of track. It's like,
bro, telethons. You remember the telethons?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your kind.
Oh, bro.
Those were when those nights you could stay up and you could really watch some good old TV for you know. And I've got a brother who's disabled. He got hit by a car, 1984, disabled him for the rest of his life. And so I've been around disability, growing up around it. It's made me humble to caring and loving, looking after somebody. But he looks after me. He would go on the telethon, so we'd all stay up. Oh, really? And he was the first superstar. In the family, when you saw someone that you knew on TV.
That's it. Man! There was only 2 channels back then. I was like, man. Now you've got like, I don't know.
But if you were to go to the movies, then you had like VHS, we had the old cassette. So you chose like Friday, Saturday nights would be stack up all these movies and just go watch them and talk about them. Yeah. Or you had something and then you had a cool tape or someone came back from the States with like an early copy or something and it just circled around the hood. Yeah. Cassette takes new songs, man. Eric B. around the hood. And be like, bro, who's got the tape? Oh, man, that family's got it.
You're making dubs of the tape.
Everyone dub it. You've got to record here and you'll play here and then record here.
Those were the times, eh? What was the first movie you ever saw in the theatre?
I can't remember, but let me share this one story.
Go.
American Werewolf in London came out and they were screening it downtown. I was with my older cousin at the time and her friend. And I was like, I think I was 8 or 9. Yeah. And they were trying to get me in to go see. I don't know what the rating was. And I remember being scared because I told him, you got to lie to this Balangi man. Because they got one of the managers was like, come on, listen here, kid. You have to be a certain age to go watch this movie. But they wanted to watch it. And I'm just sitting there trying to. But I remember him just going, nah, you can't get in. I was like, I felt like I let them down as a kid, you know. It's the Civic's like epic. You walk in there, and you see the Oscars, you know, as a kid. Anyway, the movie they were playing there that we could go and see, and it was Gallipoli. Peter Weir's Gallipoli.
Oh yeah, Mel Gibson. Yeah. When
I went and watched that movie, it hit me here. Like I couldn't relate to it from a Polynesian perspective. How I was living in South Auckland with my family, but it hit me here. Yeah, the fiber of it. Yeah, you know, that last shot when I left the theater, I was crying, man, because I didn't want my hero to die. Yeah, he does that speech. Yeah. What are your legs? Springs, steel springs, and you're about to charge out of the trenches, and then seeing how staunch Anglican European Kiwis are, and the Maori people here of World War I and their sacrifices to just touch me, because as the immigrant, I have to honor that by being as successful as I can as an immigrant over here, with children of immigrants. So that movie Gallipoli hit me. Dawn of Mel Gibson, man, his career. He was massive in that. That was a good film. But yeah, that was a theater experience I always remembered. Never Ending Story, love that movie. Fantasy. Because we grew up in that Star Wars era. Yeah. Okay, the mesh of puppets and special effects became more real. And then, was it Jim Henson with the Muppet Show and all that? So.
Labyrinth was my first, so like Jim Henson.
Labyrinth was like
the bomb. I was
David Bowie, man, with his crystal balls. How many of us tried to emulate that?
Probably still do it now. Every time you see like 3 spheres.
If I grab like a cricket ball and it's heavy enough, I'll be able to jam it. Just roll it in my hand. Next topic. Where are we going?
Oh, it makes me laugh. Eh? But speaking of theatre, you talk we were talking about movie theatres, obviously. But have you dabbled in theatre, live theatre? Would that be something that you would be interested in doing?
Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day till the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage. Then is heard no more. 'Tis a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. What was the question?
Oh, no, I'm just letting you go.
Sorry, I just blacked out there.
I'm scratching. I'm scratching. That's great.
Don't let the cover fool you, buddy.
I take that as a yes.
Here's Macbeth.
Macbeth, yeah. So would you be looking at more of that sort of thing, or what's because it's a different feel, isn't it? Doing theatre, doing your live. You know, there's no second take. You're there, and you got to do that. What's it like? Do you like the adrenaline?
You know, theatre is non-stop, so it's it is the art form.
Yeah.
Acting is as old as prostitution. Funny that.
Yeah.
BC before Christ, in the Dark Ages, somebody had to tell the stories in the cave.
Yeah.
They were the first orators.
Yeah.
Being able to speak, share ideas. I have a respect for the craft after drama school. That's the difference from a lot of friends that I have that are in the industry out there killing it, you know, and kudos to them. They found their way into that. It's all different now. But in terms of the art, I'll bring it back to theatre, it's pure.
Yeah.
Absolutely pure. Because you're there bare.
Yep.
And you've got to start the show, go to the end.
Yep.
Whether you fall on your face, trip up, you still have to carry with your other chorus to get to the end of the show. Yeah. Voice, posture, attention, energy, passion without the loss of it. Simplifying it, heightening it, making sure that every word is heard. I love it. It's I think it's an experience. I think anyone who wants to become an actor needs to be part of a chorus, just to know what it was like, you know. For someone to be playing in the top level of the NRL and All Blacks field, go out and play in the rain, in a farm, you know, like out in the mud. Get out there and get ugly, you know. And then when you'll appreciate that nice turf that's been mowed and sand chucked over it and stuff. So I love theatre. My thing with it is it just doesn't pay. I've got a different stance on it at the moment because of my situation. But for a person who's a single person out there who's not married with a family and want to go do theatre, do it. Because you learn so much. You learn so much from putting yourself out there. How are you going to learn if you don't put yourself in uncomfortable situations to see how you deal with it? You know, how do you get back up if you don't know how to fall over?
That's so true. Let's get a bit of a drink.
I respect a lot of. I've been the longest. Let me find the words. The longest I've been, work free in terms of being in a drought would be about 2.5 years. And in that time, I kept my mind active with still doing voice and just being present. I was out of commission for a year, so I went to Teachers Training College. And
what were you out of commission for?
I tore my knee. It was a hearty night. And I put a lot of pressure on my family because I wasn't providing, I wasn't working. My first gig when I came out was Power Rangers, and that was from Disney. I've had the honor of playing 2 lead mentors in Power Rangers, and I think I might be the only one if you Google it. I haven't Googled it lately, so I don't know if I'm still holding that record.
Hopefully,
not that I Google myself. Well,
who does that? I was your narrator on that show for a couple of seasons.
Dude, you had it, man. Like I remember when we did generics, and it was the time that the writers and the directors and the dancers all got together. You remember when we did generics? We all got together, and it was the only time I'd seen dancers, writers, and directors like yourself come into our field, and you guys killed. Some of you killed it. You were very confident, but you were always a outspoken person, eh, Dan?
Yeah, bro.
Why are we here? Why are we here, Daryl? Why are we
That's
here?
why we're here, bro. That's why we're here. I'm always want to talk. I can't stop. Are your kids looking at acting?
No.
No.
No. I think they've got a lot of natural things that have been passed on to them by me. But when they come to me and talk to me about, seriously being an actor, I'm like, I know I've seen the other side of the fence, and I don't want them acting, but I do want them taking those skills and being able to speak to their employers, just being able to voice your way, your thought and feeling. I've had this thing where I try to say to students I have the privilege of teaching, and to my children, you're like, don't leave a room without, and then have that conversation to yourself that you should have said something. Yeah. Find the courage to say it then. Because even if you both disagree, at least the consultation's open and honest.
Yeah.
And then you don't leave with the mystery. I think, just finding...
Yeah, got you.
I would support whatever and try to nurture whatever they want to do.
Yeah,
you know? And, from dropping them off at school, like I dropped them off around the corner. Because I don't want them to deal with that. I can deal with it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, man, like, keep family out of it, man. Like,
Are you still South Auckland bound?
I've just gone back.
Yep.
I was away for a while. I was out west.
Yep.
We moved during the contract, so depending where I'm working. So I've been able to just be a bit more settled, be close to my parents. My mum went through a little medical scare, and the same. My wife's family's out there as well. So, and I'm just used to it. I'm used to the chaos. I love it.
The chaos.
Yes,
I like the chaos.
It's that mad love, Yeah.
But I feel like it helped South Auckland by being successful, not by just being there.
Yeah.
Because I've spent my whole life wanting to better my stance in terms of how I have my legacy in this country with my family.
Yeah.
Being a Kiwi Tongan as well, and just all of that stuff. So coming back to the hood is good, but I would rather build a recreation centre or a cinema, or I would want to give back, but I've got to focus on my charge at the moment and just do what I've got to do.
And you're giving back at the moment, aren't you? You told me on the phone that you were dabbling with
Unizik,
eh?
the old stomping ground.
The old stomping ground, going back there for a little bit of a play.
Recently.
You're just taking them through the basics, just kind of talking about the experience.
I feel like I'm giving back to a school that gave me so much because.
Are the Hawthorns still there? Are they still attached to it at all? Or?
I've seen Elizabeth's name there, but I don't know if she's still there.
Yeah.
Raymond, eh?
Oh, he was big, eh? He was funny. I saw him recently. I was at a restaurant. Can't remember where it was. He walks in as Raymond as ever. You know what I mean? He was a funny dude. He's
Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. And it's exactly the
John,
same.
what are you wearing, darling? Are those rugby shorts? It's cold.
He's looking lean. He's lost a bit of weight.
No, I have respect for that guy. He, I don't know. Drama school actually, for me, I posted up on Insta recently, and I was like, I went into drama school kind of arrogant, Yeah. And I was like, I went in rugby shorts, jandals, had an afro, and it was more like, yeah, this is me and what,
Yeah.
But I left there complete.
Yep.
Accepting myself, all my shortcomings. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I found a place to learn how to talk, man. Yeah. How to communicate. Like, I don't try to go out there and change people or anything, But I'm gonna give you the best of myself with respect, courtesy, all the homely virtues, bro. You know, and I will read how you ping pong back. That skill is kind of lost now with social media and texting. I don't see people trying to have game in terms of talking to each other.
Yeah.
And it's either chest puff or it's just agendas. Like it's hard to really strip back. And when I was in Hollywood too, that's at another level, bro. Because you have this.
Yeah.
you gotta just have this air of confidence about you. So our humility is mistaken there as like either lazy or you know what I mean, or just it can be. You know what I mean? But the cool thing is you're different. But there's an energy in Hollywood that just it's this like it's like a time bomb. And when you're out there and you're networking or having meetings and stuff, you didn't know what your agenda is. Yeah. And then when you're making friends, it's hard to find the truth in people because you're constantly looking for upping or like, you know, how was I? Just it's chaos.
What was your first big meeting over in Hollywood? Was it Battleship or something before that?
Dude, Battleship changed my life, man.
Yeah, bro.
And you know, I was a featured extra. You've been a featured extra before.
Right. Yep.
When you're a featured extra on a movie set or a TV, I won't ball the camera too much, but I like this.
No, it's good.
It's like breaking that third wall, teaching something important. But when you're a featured extra, if you're an actor, you're like, it's just a taste of where you don't want to be too long. You want to have lines. You know what I'm saying? I was a featured extra. I would milk a line every now and then on Go Girls.
Yep.
And Jay Ryan was the lead in there at the time. Dude, that dude's coming out on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chapter 2?
Yeah, bro. I want to go see that. Catch the bro's work. And he was always nice. I remember people that I interacted with on certain sets and stuff. Anyway, I was a featured extra on there. And I auditioned for Battleship. And then, got the callback. Auditioned again, called Callback.
Yep.
Auditioned and then booked the role. And my life changed. Because I went from living here on a budget, booking, and the whole goal for me and my wife were, we're just gonna stay in this acting thing till we get the role, because there's no job. There is no, there are, of course. I can't say there's no, but in my job, in my life, in my career, in my line of work, you can get one movie that can change your stance, brother. You know, and I'm in it for that. I can't do what my father did for 40 years, man. Yeah. This is it. I'm here now. Yeah. Well, the formula's changed for me in terms of how my output is, but anyway. When Battleship happened, 2 weeks, I was on business class flying to Hawaii, and then got there, went to the hotel, everything. I remember getting there and breaking down because I was like, damn, it's happening too fast, man. This is the way you wanted. And then it's like, and now, but I'm not single, bro. I'm here as... I'm married. I was married for 2 years. Yep. Just had my son.
First son?
No. Well, my daughter. My twins. I just had my twin boys. Shit. So and I had 4, and then I didn't talk to them until like 5 days later, dude. That's how fast it happened. And I got into the circuit where you're on a movie now, you get there, makeup, wardrobe, bang, 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 and it's just clockwork because this Hollywood been going for over 100 years. You know? Yeah. You're another cog that's just come in, and then I've got to try and act natural. Yeah. Damn, it's happening. Yeah. Get on set, boom, oh my God, man, it's happening. Oh my, is that Rihanna? That's Rihanna. Dude, act natural. It's all dialogue to myself. South Auckland, don't forget where you're from. No.
I remember your biceps were looking pretty big in that film too, right?
But I was flexing like a mother.
I remember it.
Hey, Ray. Up to no. Dude, I didn't know how big she was. My kids knew. Like I was old. I was like in my 30s.
Yeah.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's I've been around a lot of stars.
Yeah.
Like when they met her. And here I revered a lot of Kiwi stars, and I finally got to work with all of them. And that was cool. I get to see their work ethic. When I'm around people, I'm constantly soaking up. Because of the way I hold myself. I don't know how people read intelligence, but it's got to look and sound a certain way. You know? Dude, let me be me, man. Let me be me. But we can still connect on a level. But anyway, when I was there, it wasn't like you went and hung out in the green room. You had your own trailer. Yeah. I was like, what's this? It's a trailer. Access, excess, everything, bro. And then you're having sushi with Liam Neeson, and you're meeting people, and it's just this crazy ride. And that is where those who are not grounded in their in their expectation can get lost. You know what I mean? Those who and get comfortable. Yeah. And I was there. 4 to 5 months, bro. We shot there in Hawaii for 2.5 months, and then went over to Baton Rouge. Yeah. In Louisiana, New Orleans, bro. And then we shot all the studio stuff there. Yeah. And then my hardest thing was just keeping my weight the same for 5 months. Oh hell yeah! Because like, when you're over there, not only do you have catering, you got like per diems and like I'm eating like, and I haven't been tested to see where I'm at in terms of how my international output is with making movies. So I was waking up Taco Bell. Yeah. You know, I know, and that's like that's cheap compared to the other tacos I could have. And man, I was just, you know,
bro, I got stuck in that. I was working my first film.
You put weight. Like, tell the truth. When you go to the States, do you put on weight?
Every time. And but the thing is, when the States come here, bro, I worked on Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, right? I was behind the scenes. Name drop. Just saying. I was working behind the scenes in the visual effects department. And the meals, they brought a truck over from the States. They brought the chefs over from the States. So we're eating American food. And my first experience of it.
Oh, whoa, down here in Taihape?
Taranaki. Yep.
Oh, so they brought American catering to here in New Zealand.
Yeah, it was ridiculous because it's like, we've just done Lord of the Rings, bro. You don't need to do this. So anyway, they did. They brought all this American catering over, and
they need those hormones, and because we're not as processed as they are, and everything's big in America.
It was big, and
salute, man.
So I know what that's like, because what happened to me was I get in there and they're like, I'm going for the breakfast. I'll have the porridge and I'll have the eggs. And it's just, that what you want? And I'm like, oh no, I might have a bit of the bacon. Throw everything on. I sit down and all the Americans are putting maple syrup on everything, and I'm like, what is that all about?
Yes.
So I thought I'd give it a go, and it was like, oh,
just pour it over here.
Mean.
Just hold your love handle.
Put it straight on.
Hold your man to the oven, just pour it on there. That's where it's going, bro.
I on my first day I saw them do that. I ate like that, and I was like, this is mean. So for the 3 months I worked on that film, I ate like that, and it was horrid. Yeah. At the end of it, I put on 12 kgs. I went from 100, which was my fighting weight.
You're a big dude, to
112.
Man. Like you, I've seen you bigger. I've seen you bigger. Because you're health conscious now.
I'm health conscious now, brother.
Lean, bro.
Lean, bro. Looking after it. But that was the first time and last time I've been that big. That type of weight. It was Americans. But, crazy.
Everything's supersized.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Like, you know, when you're here and I grew up poor, man. But not poor. I don't want to disrespect my father and my parents' struggle. My mum. But we grew up working class, and we had to make a budget work. And then the money wasn't a thing. I didn't have to worry about it because they did. You know what I mean? It's only until I had my family and me and my wife trying to make ends meet. Yeah. So when we are in a situation of being spoiled, like you have to just let the guard down. Yeah. To see where you're at, and then be like, oh man, I gotta pull it up. You know, and ease up. When I was doing Battleship, I remember when I came back from pickups, I was overweight, bro, like 15K. And so, like the scenes, and I knew it was a harsh lesson for me to control my weight.
What was the gap between principal and pickups? 3 months, couple months.
My man, when the World Cup happened, I left about 5, bro. 4 or 5 months. Yep. So I came back and got comfortable. Yep. The light hit me, bro. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Like I didn't come back and was too brash, but I was more like I spent more because I had this expectation like, oh, it's your name, man. It's cracking it, man. You're the man. I fall into that, and then I've got to play this certain role around certain people because I'm a Hollywood dude, and I was just burning money, eating whatever. Yeah. So when I got the heads up about coming back to shoot, man, pants weren't fitting. It was a harsh lesson in terms of me and how to deal with the immediacy of everything, you know? And I went back, the costume wasn't fitting. So all the shots that flew me back for, I couldn't quite complete because I just looked chubbier. Harsh lesson, bro. But I've never been a lead in anything except for Power Rangers, which I contained. And I was there. I got 7 weeks warning, so I lost 20 kilos for a role. This was, different kettle of fish because I thought I already made it, man. Yeah. I got comfortable. Yeah. You know, which is why when I say to people out there pursuing it's like, it's easy. That first one will get you unless you're prepared. You know, I got comfortable and went back and after that, it just, I blamed a lot of people. I went and, it got dark for me.
Yep.
I went through the depression, and in a subtle way, me and my wife didn't know it was depression until hindsight.
Yeah.
We looked at the symptoms because I've got friends that had to deal with it, and then went, damn. Because what they don't teach, and I'm pretty open to talking to people about, is when you in this industry and you get a bit of fame, like keep it on lock, because when you're not getting that type of attention anymore, and you're not outputting that much, and the fans aren't reacting too much, that's why people chasing likes and comments, it can affect you.
Get that little
because
dopamine rush.
Yeah, it is, man. Those endorphins kick in.
Yeah.
It's a nice rush, and this cycle just happens. I just went to food. It was food.
So how did you sort of, what do you do now? And from that point until now and the learnings that you've developed, what do you do to keep your mental health on straight?
Wow. Well, I don't do anything specific.
Are you hitting the gym?
Yeah.
Doing a bit of fitness?
Well, nothing specific with the idea that I'm doing it for mental health. That's what I mean.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah.
We can all tie anything to mental health.
Yeah.
Whether you're having like a bad day driving and you get pissed off because someone's cut you off, like
Yeah.
mental health. Like,
Yeah.
what am I doing specifically for it? Nothing.
No.
I'm what I am more comfortable with is myself.
Yeah.
So I've stopped trying to be leading man because I'm not.
Yeah.
I've accepted that.
Yeah.
I'm too old, man. I'm too big, and I don't care. I don't want to be the next Brad Pitt. I'm not chasing that. I'm just wanting to work as an artist.
Yeah.
I just want to work. Judge me when I step into the box with my acting, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of who I am as a person and stuff, man, I struggle the same as them. Like
That's cool.
I had this interview and everyone went in, and I was like, The Rock's not going to send a private jet over and pick me up. I don't even know if there's a part two or not. I'm not doing it for. I'm saying this for people to know that it's so easy to be so critical, but like, can you reflect that on your life? That criticism, can you apply back to yourself? That harshness and expectation, can you do that to yourself? Because if I see your walk doesn't match your talk, then it's invalid for me. It's invalid.
Who are some of the actors that you've worked with, bro? Let's name drop. You talked about name drop earlier on. Who are some of the
You were
ones?
the one that dropped Tom Cruise.
I did, bro.
Tom Cruise.
I just thought I'd aim high.
Tom Cruise for me was the 80s, 90s, 2000s. Like he's the bankable, huge. If you look at his range of films, Dwayne now is the guy.
Yeah.
And he looks everything that an action star should look. In terms of Kiwis, I've worked with most of our Kiwi contingent out here.
Yep.
And most of them from the time I started are not working now. They're doing other things. But I've seen them at the height of when they thought they were at their height here. Yep. But only a few stepped to that second tier of being international.
Yeah.
And I've done more, and I'm grateful for it. I'm not gloating because I don't have the bank to have that swag, bro. Struggle is real. I'm that guy, bro. You'll see me in the mall out there. And I'm more than happy to talk to anyone. Just don't be, just come correct, man. Like I'd approach you if I wanted to look at you or talk to you. I'll be respectful. I wouldn't just step up like that.
Did you go through Australia, or did you just went straight from New Zealand straight to America?
I missed it all, bro. I don't have to do the Aussie circuit. When you look at the rise of Pacific Island art in terms of film and TV, it's there have been glimpses of just great movies that have opened the doors for us and stuff. I would like Australia to show more Polynesians because so many of our people are over there.
Yeah.
Like there's one thing that like New Zealand, Australia, and all the other colonial contingents that are part of the Commonwealth need to know that like Polynesians are going to live in your country. This is our ocean. We all share it.
Yeah.
And your neighbors are always going to come over and ask for the lawnmower or some brown sugar or something. But because we acknowledge provisions for family, like it's the basics to provide for your family. So you go to these large cities, Auckland, Sydney, even Japan. You see the migration of Polynesians out within the Pacific Circle. Like we go to try to better our stance in terms of our families and stuff. Yeah, in terms, see, I'm just space jumping. In terms of from here, I went straight like Battleship, man, straight from New Zealand to Hollywood, bro.
Straight to-
And then I was there, and then I got to see Liam, I got to see Rihanna, Jesse Plemons,
Who was the other dude in Battleship?
the lead,
Yeah.
Taylor Kitsch.
That's the bugger.
He's the guy from Friday Night Lights, you know. And his star shot about 3 movies in 1 year. He came out.
Yeah.
And they didn't do all, like, they didn't break the bank and stuff. But my man made money and he got himself out there. He started as a model.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, he's a very pretty boy.
I think Tinsel Town, Hollywood, always looks for it's about beauty.
Yeah.
Look at the elegance of the Oscars or the Emmys,
Yeah.
the BAFTAs. It's about that. I think my niche is just to be a brute man. You know, when I look at the history of what maybe Hollywood looks for in terms of macho men, you look at the Russell Crowe, Hugh Jackman, the men that have made it over there, Thor,
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yep.
I mean, it's massive, you know. And when I talk to students, I always say, like, that's the difference between, you know, when you look at manliness on screen and stuff. Now it's portrayed sometimes. Russell Crowe's Maximus to Brad Pitt's Achilles. You know,
Yeah.
I related more to Russell. He just had weight in the way his performance. Nothing on Brad. I think Brad's a great actor. He looks fantastic, but.
Yeah, I know.
Russ had that, and so Sam Worthington had his break, and he was out there, and he was looked at as the.
Yep.
Who else? Yeah, our men are different.
Yeah.
Just a different type of brawn, I think.
I think it works well in like the Hollywood sense as well because there's a certain humour to Aussie and New Zealand men. There's a certain likability to Aussie and New Zealand men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when you look at people like Chris Hemsworth and that sort of stuff. And even Russell Crowe, even though he throws phones around from time to time. Like he
Have a tantrum.
Yeah, he's a bit of a tanty. But all in all, if you treat him like a human being, he seems like a reasonable dude.
They can be just down to earth blokes, bro.
Yeah.
In terms of where Polynesians fit in, because the first question you threw at me about where I see the advancement of our people, I think it's about awareness, man, and we need more writers, more stories that we can tell.
Yeah.
I'd like to work for more poly and multi directors and writers, you know, because we have so many stories, but we're still young. We're still blossoming. It's been like, 50, 60 years since our people started migrating to these shores, and we're still adapting. Yeah. But it is a good time to be PI. I was very proud to be on the set of Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah. And like I said, like going back to Battleship, the actors I worked with from Battleship, when I did Solo, what is it? Harrison, Woody Harrison. Yep. I worked with Tandy Newton. And when I saw her, I was like, man, it was like working with Tupac, because I love Tupac, you know. It was like working with Tupac on Gridlock, you know.
She's got a presence to her, right? On Westworld. It's like,
hell yeah.
Amazing.
Hell yeah. And she was shooting that when I was over there shooting with her. Yeah. Amelia Clark was over there too. She was, that's right. Yeah, she was in the movie. Yeah. And I was hard out Game of Thrones. But every time I saw her, man, I tried to just be cool. I did that whole Rihanna thing. I was sitting there, just stare from a distance, buddy. Yeah. And then get close and just act like I'm the man. But I just didn't want to give in too much.
You're taking selfies every time you walk up to them.
No, I know, but it means I've lowered my status as a...
Yeah, you're not on there.
As a co-worker, bro. I've become a fan. So as soon as like, you know, and I've learned that from working there when I was with Dwayne, you know, when I was with Roman Reigns and around all those other actors, Cliff, Jason Statham. I held my own in terms of just being professional. I think when you're on set, just focus on being professional. Yeah. Delivering, control your output, focus on the job. You know, you can't turn into fanboy like that. Leave that to the public and the fans that are out there that appreciate their work. But for me, it was just always work first. And I met Spike Lee. Like, the amount of like famous people I've met, I come back and, bro, I'm dressed like I'm wearing warehouse track pants, man, and warehouse didn't even pay me for mentioning it. And I'm standing next to these people, because that's what they are. They're people. I got over the whole, celebrity fame thing because they perspire, they go to the toilet. They're humans, bro. You know,
Yeah.
you don't. In America, it's different, man. Like they worship differently over there, bro.
Yeah.
Over here, we're like, hey, you there, fella from Shorty's, bro? I'm like, yeah, that depends. Like, are you drunk? Well, what's going on? What's up, bro? What's up? Oh, yeah, I'll take a selfie with you.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're different here. We're just,
I've seen
it reflects in our culture, our rugby culture as well. Just,
Yeah.
and that's why when you're talking about mental health, it's
Yeah.
always tucked under the carpet. Go, like, sure, right, man.
Yeah,
Harden up, bro. Harden up, mate. That word, hey, just shuts down a lot of dialogue for us to be able to exchange like we're doing now.
Yeah. It's good though the way that we are talking a lot more now. Though I think, or
It's good.
with the awareness that's been happening over the last 4 or 5 years with mental health, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's like, and we'll talk about this in our second podcast, but just when people on that level start, they follow from TV1.
Oh yeah. What's his name?
Don't know,
the newsreader.
but my life's busy, so I can't be the advocate for knowing all of that, but I feel it. I grew up, and it's a funny thing because we'll talk about it in the second podcast. Yeah, I think. Listen, all I got to say to people out there in terms of these actors are still people.
Yeah.
We know that now. Instagram world has given us a window into seeing that they're just normal people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I've seen, like, when I talk about how fame has affected a lot of people and how it's taken out there and stuff. I hope to represent to the poly community out there is just, we'll stay ourselves.
Yeah.
Hollywood isn't going to change for anyone. Like, the way that they showed the Samoan culture and Hobbs and Shaw, I was just sitting there like, damn. You know? And I was tripping out because I was like, man, it's on big screen. Like, and people need to know that what they see is seen around the world.
Yeah.
So we're harsh down here, but like, have you traveled overseas? We're talking about this being international in terms of your experience. Like I know dudes that haven't left the hood, man. Like going out to them is going to Hamilton
Yeah.
or Whangarei
Yeah.
when they leave South Auckland.
Yeah.
And whoa, man, and it's spiritual for them. And I'm like, brother, you leave this country, you get to see that there's a different world out there. It opens your perspective.
Yeah.
That question we had earlier on, and it was like, people always ask me, how do you do it? How did you get out there in Hollywood? I said, dude, there's no formula. There is no formula to success. Like, you can brown nose, you can be around so many different crowds. You can like know everything about acting technique and method, and there's just no quick fix. For me, my rise was a combination of many things.
Yeah.
Many things. It was being tenacious,
Yep.
accepting who I was, marketing me for me.
Yeah.
Not trying to do or be anything else that I wasn't any different from. And it was during the downtime, having my hand on a lot of jars, not just having acting as the goal.
Yeah.
Like I do voiceovers. I could do some now, but I haven't worked for them, and they need to pay for that. But let's just say 7:30, Indiana Jones. In a world, one man.
So good.
No, in a world, John Toohey.
Coming soon.
Coming to a theater near you. Pay me. There's no formula.
No.
There's no formula to success. I think people are like, yeah, but how did you do it? I was like, I don't know, bro. One thing I do know is that the appeal that they're looking for, and when they is them, I don't know, the powers that be, is marketability and global.
Yeah.
So I always tell people to try to find their truth.
Yeah.
Like if
Authenticity.
yeah, man. Like if I see someone who's a huge fan of a certain actor and they imitate them in all their scenes from different movies and stuff, you've already boxed yourself, bro.
Yeah.
You know? So when I played a character in Power Rangers, when I auditioned for it, I was in this dog's head, and my Power Ranger fans were jump out of there. But it was they put me in a paper bag, and I did the audition, read the lines, made them very loud, strong, and they were like, "You're the guy," and they opened the doors for me. Power Rangers.
Yeah.
When I did the second season, I played different characters. I based them on Russell Crowe because he sounded very,
It's got that.
what we do in life.
Things in eternity.
And even in my voiceovers, like,
Yeah.
you don't know it's me, man. It's me putting on that classic Farmer Joe accent,
Yeah.
Have your hand on a lot of jars, be as versatile as you can.
Yeah.
But also know your point of difference. If you came to me and said, John, I want to be an actor, and we had this conversation outside of this arena in this box, it would be like, Daryl, this is what you're good at. I think you could do this, and that's the best I can give you. I'm not going to give you, there's no formula of success. So don't step into this world and be secure in the fact that you feel you were born and made for it. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of acceptance. There's a lot of actors out there who I feel are really more knowledgeable than me in terms of processes, the craft, the history of it and stuff. But it means nothing because the walk doesn't match all their knowledge and their talk. Doesn't, bro. Like the amount of acting get-togethers I've been to and just heard some really great conversation. I'm like, apply it then. Bruh,
It's easy to dish it out.
I get it, man.
Yeah.
I get it, and you're holding yourself. Shut up, man. So I try to set myself up to accept all my failures.
Yeah.
And not have that that child that goes up in front of the arena and gets dissected by, like X Factor and all that. Like, didn't they have people around them or their parents that said, like, man, when you were singing in the show, it didn't sound that great. Like, why do you want to go and audition for this? But then there are those nice stories where people come out from adversity and get into a platform and they show their talent. They're the phoenixes for me.
Yeah. They just need that opportunity.
They did. And it's a mild combination. My heritage as a Tongan tries to make me humble, even though I was born and raised here.
Yep.
And I also represent a lot of Polynesians that were born and raised there. So sometimes we're not. For me, I feel insecure when I'm around other Tongans, and they're really fluent in their Tongan. And then if I'm around a lot of Kiwis, like I'm not Kiwi enough. Like I'm still trying to, you know what I mean? And that's
tricky,
brother. Like us children born and raised here from the 70s, 80s upwards, deal with that. So right now, my children won't, because they're second generation, so they're more Kiwi than they are with their heritage. But I still try to pass on elements of my heritage that they have. But I truly don't believe that one is all and end all being, that's the way that it should be.
Yeah.
Everything's generic and is constantly moving. Because I can't tell the story for anyone else. I can only tell my story and how it affects me. And try to do a good job at it. But like there's so much more, and I think if they're hit me up if we come back to another
story,
issue.
man. I love hearing it. I love hearing stories of success and how people have conquered, and especially people I've known from back in the day and just watched, the growth, watching your growth since 2001 and where you've gone and where you've been. It's like, but when I remember, because I saw on little bits and pieces like Power Rangers and that sort of thing, and then
you were like,
and then Battleship.
How the hell that fool me?
Suddenly,
what the hell? Who is he sleeping with when I know he just got married? Who's he sleeping with to get those jobs?
But I remember watching the trailer
Mickey
for
Mouse,
Battleship,
because Disneyland, Disney was the producer for Power Rangers, so I called up Mickey and I said, Mickey,
hey Mickey, hey Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine.
I knew you were gonna get it. All right, finish your question. Sorry.
No, it's all good, bro. Let's leave it at that, man. I'm really happy with what we've gone over, and it's a privilege to have you here, my brother. And,
it's a privilege being here, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you,
bro, great job on raising perspectives and awareness out there, bro.
Giving it a go,
you give it a go. But that's it, bro. We few, the hearty few that try, bro. It's with good intention, so I respect that, Daz. And my man, always good. Hey, see you guys next time.
On the next one.
On the next one, brother. Oh, hold on.
Oh.
3 movies coming out this summer.
Oh, go on.
We still going?
Yeah. I am now. Go.
So he mentioned, our host mentioned that that Savages was coming out, and that's a hearty story.
Yeah.
Gang life, generational effects of it, the failure of the Ballstall and foster home system in New Zealand at the time when our Indigenous people needed it. Can't wait for that movie to come out.
That'll be good.
Another one is The Legend of Baron Toa, and that's a strong Tongan cast, Polynesian cast. I do that with one of my newest Tongan brothers who's from my village, Maofanga in Tonga. His name's Uli Latu Kefu. He was on Marco Polo, the Alien Covenant.
I know, dude.
Yeah. That's my brother. That's coming out, and that's directed by Kyle and Kerry, who are also Unitech students as well. And just they did so much over here for New Zealand television. Find Me a Māori Bride. I'm sitting here promoting them, and I hope to get another dinner. That movie's coming out, The Legend of Baron Toa, and it's an action comedy, and I can't wait. I can't wait for New Zealand to see it in the world. Also, I'm part of an Aussie comedy that I shot with some Melbourneese brothers over there from Geelong, and that's Luke Saliba is going to be a new talent coming out of Australia, and I work with him on this movie. Gary Sweet's in the movie. David Funny, one of the Usos, long time stalwart here in New Zealand. David Funny, and that movie's coming out sometime next year, early next year. So. Mate, I'm just, well, people are like, you're busy, you're cracking. I'm like, nah, man, I'm just loving my art, and I'm out there. And, I'm still on that grind, bro. I just love seeing pro poly art coming out.
Yeah.
Quality, quality actors, and I love working. I love doing what I do. And I truly feel that it's a great platform. Drama, acting, gives you a voice. It allows, and our people need it. Yeah. Not that they don't, but yeah, man, awesome. Check those movies out, and we'll talk next time, bro.
Okay. Beautiful. Thanks again.
My man. Oh, wow.